Hey everyone, it's Izzy Eze,
along with Tembi, and welcome to Somewhat Grown,
a podcast about adulting from two 30-somethings just figuring it out
and embracing the process. Hello people, welcome to another episode. It's Tembi.
Hey, it's Izzy.
And we have a very special guest and special friend who is joining us. I feel like special friend sounds weird.
I can be a special friend if you like.
Special friend. Oh, okay then.
Hi everyone, I'm Joy, and I'm so happy to be on the podcast today. Thank you for having me.
Aww.
Thank you for joining us, girl. Yes, you are witnessing over a decade of friendship established in 2013. And it's been a long time coming actually to have Joy join us on the podcast. So yeah, it's really good to have you here, girl.
Thank you.
We're talking about mental health and trauma today.
Oh, such light topics. We love it so much.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we needed Joy. We needed a bit of joy to help bring it to
lighten
life.
the mood. I'll rap a few times just to lighten the mood.
No, don't rap. Do not rap.
But yeah, I feel like, I mean, Izzy and I were kind of saying that these conversations have been happening just kind of in general in our conversations lately. I don't know about you, Joy. And just thinking about, winter's coming. It's the season where some of us are affected by seasonal affective disorder. And also, that time where people recoup a bit more. So it's less social and, maybe loneliness and things like that might come out more. And it just feels like a time to think about and revisit the topic of mental health. But I guess before we get into it, shall we do our random word of the day to kick us off?
Definitely. I was also just going to say, of course, Joy is our amazing special friend. But also, Joy is the type of person where there's not really much small talk, sis. You know what I mean? It's just like, how was your day? Oh yeah, tell me about everything in your life, And
dive in.
We dive straight in, and it just feels so pertinent to have you here today to talk about all the mental health things and all the deep stuff because you're so good at it. So yeah.
Thank you so
much. And also you've trained in this area in some ways, right?
Yeah, I've done a counselling course. Yeah. I'll go with that.
Nice.
That's trained in something.
That's a course was completed. Okay.
Period. She said, I did a course. I'm not going to laugh first because that counts. Okay, it counts. It actually does. I'm not going to lie.
It does. Yeah. No, it does.
Okay, so random word generator. Joy, you already know how this goes. I hope. Okay, so the random word today is easy. I think it's not always easy to manage everything. As much as we have our different passions, our different goals and things, it's like when we come down to it, it feels like we're very busy. Well, for me anyway, I speak for myself. I feel like I'm always rushing from one thing to another. And I was saying I had a therapy session just before this, and I was like, I always feel like I'm chasing something, or I'm on, something is on top of me. I'd never feel like, oh, I'm on top of this today. Do you know what I mean? And it could possibly be because I put on a lot of expectations on myself, and it could also be because the job is just hectic, right? So both are true. And so, yeah, when it comes to kind of recording and doing all the things we love, it's not always easy. So that's the first thing that came to mind for me. That was deep. Anyway.
I mean, it's the topic, right? Joy, did you have something cooking or should I go next?
You go next.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I think, okay, the song Easy Like Sunday Morning, typical, comes up. But I guess taking it on its other side, it's thinking about the contrast and the things that have to be in place when things do feel easy versus when they don't.
Okay.
And I feel like easy is not something that can be assumed. And I feel
Mm.
like when it comes to mental health, sometimes it feels like that. It feels like easy is like the kind of standard. And then if you're struggling, it's like you have to do things to like keep it up. And I feel like maybe what I'm speaking to is like some of the judgment around it, because there are so many factors that can play into why someone's mental health dips and why it might go up.
Mm.
And I guess, yeah, when I think about easy, I think about all those factors that play into that outside of, just the person. Yeah.
Mm.
I like that. And that kind of goes down the same train of thought as I went down, because it's funny how we, all three of us, heard the word easy and we've gone for things that are not easy.
Yeah, true.
So I was thinking that it's not always easy to maintain your mental health. It's not always easy to be okay and to perform in ways that society would expect you to.
Mm.
And just like Tembi said, sometimes you'll struggle with something so much and other people see it as a really easy, simple thing. Even just like, I don't know, responding to a message. For someone, they'll be like, oh, that's so easy. That's a 2-minute job.
Yeah.
Whereas in your mind, you're struggling so much to even just figure out what words to put together.
Mm-hmm.
So easy is relative. That's what I would take away from that.
Easy
Yeah.
is
Titled to
relative.
me.
Mm.
I like that. Thank you,
Easy is
Joy.
relative. Yeah, thank you. I think, sorry, was I interrupting you? Izzy?
No, 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 not at all.
I was going to say, like, I actually love that because I feel like um the question I was going to kind of get us starting with is like, what do you think about the way that we talk about mental health now? And like, have you noticed any trends that are positive or negative? And I think when I think about that, I think about the role that social media plays in that conversation in good and bad ways, but also like when coming back to Joy's point about like is easy as relative, I feel like um social media is so geared towards making us observe a very specific and narrow way of like judging success and like thriving and whatever, that it's hard to like hold that in mind sometimes, I think.
Mm.
um yeah,
Mm.
like
Remind me of your
I don't
question
know where
as
you
well,
go.
though.
I guess like what do you think about the way that people speak about mental health today, and have you seen any like positive or negative trends around how it is talked about recently?
Mm. It's a good question. Joy, do you have any immediate thoughts about that?
Yeah, so my immediate thoughts are I've seen many different sides of how people talk about mental health. So,
Mm.
obviously, in recent years, we've seen a lot more discussion happening, a lot more openness
Mm.
about mental health and mental health struggles.
Mm.
I do also think that I've seen a lot more resistance or disparagement towards mental health struggles, because I often hear people say, oh, everyone thinks they've got,
Mm-hmm.
let's take ADHD for example, or autism for example. And it's
Mm-hmm.
almost become like a meme where people are like, oh yeah, I must have ADHD, or I must have autism, or even OCD. Like there are so many elements of mental health that are starting to not be taken so seriously because of how often they're spoken about,
Agreed.
which I think is such a shame,
Mm-hmm.
because these are things that directly impact people's lives.
Yeah.
And when we're saying to them that you can open up to me about your struggle, but I'm probably not going to believe you because everyone claims to have the same struggle,
Mm-hmm.
that also then limits how open people feel to talk about it. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
a double-edged sword.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to figure out where I stand. I feel like there's a what's the word? Just like a oh my gosh, what am I trying to say? There's one side of the spectrum and there's another side of the spectrum, pun intended. And I feel like I'm like in the middle because from a personal perspective, I absolutely believe and want to believe everyone that talks about, what they're going through, and talks about kind of having being neurodivergent and all sorts of things. And I think with the kind of explosion of understanding what it even means, I think naturally comes exploration and a lot of people trying to figure it out. You know, they might be right, they might be wrong, but either way, everyone's trying to figure it out. And I think I appreciate that. I do appreciate that a lot. Um, the other perspective I come from is working in HR and kind of knowing that a lot of people kind of from my perspective send sick notes in order to avoid doing certain things, and kind of extending it, like for instance, like, you know, the job I work in is is HR, but like I look after people who do kind of shift work. So actually
Mm,
part of your job is doing mornings and doing nights.
mm,
So there might be like an incident, or there might be something where that person doesn't feel comfortable to do a night shift. And it's like, okay, cool. So, like, from a mental health perspective, you know, okay,
mhm,
so we're going to give you a phased return, we'll give you reasonable adjustments for a period of time. But I think there's this whole thing of like, I know I can go to my doctor and kind of ask for as much time as I want off each time. Then now it's like putting a massive strain on everyone else. So now I'm just like almost questioning, like, do doctors actually push back at all? Like, do they ask the right questions? Like, are they just signing things off, you know? And that might be a pessimistic point of view, but I guess what I'm saying is I feel like people are taking advantage of the term mental health because companies don't want to do the wrong thing. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I think I want to kind of challenge it a little bit because I feel like when it comes to things like that, I appreciate there will always be like a possibility and people abusing a system if a system
Yeah.
is there.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think as someone who's recently been signed off work for burnout, you
Uh-huh.
know, to look after my mental health, I think that when people do that, we are all living in the same kind of wider context of cost of living crisis,
Mm.
of having all of these uncertainties. There's all these crazy things constantly happening in the world. I I'm not saying like people should be abusing the system, but at the same time, there's a lot. There's a lot going on.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like for me, like I feel like doctors probably have that context in mind. I'm not a doctor and I can't speak to that, but I guess I look at the wider things happening in the world to kind of say, fair enough, if people need to have some more leeway or just find ways to just cope a little bit better.
Mm.
But that's how I feel.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. I guess I'm thinking about it from the bigger picture, in terms of like different people within. So I'm trying to figure out how to say this without revealing the situation itself, obviously for confidentiality. So it's kind of like if one person were to do that, fair enough. But then imagine if like maybe three people were to do that within the same team, then basically there's no business. It falls, if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
or one person kind of taking some time off, or extended time off, that's fair enough. But then what does that mean for the rest of the team and for how long? I guess for me, it's about for how long more than anything. It's not really about the what I need. Like for me, I totally get it, but I just think it's a sort of,
Yeah.
okay, I've established that I can do this now and no one's saying anything and I'm going to extend it because I need it. You probably do need it. But I would then argue, like, okay, is this the right job for you? You know, to do night shifts, for instance. Like, maybe you actually just want a 9 to 5. Maybe that is probably what you need to go for instead of maybe additional pressure on other people to now do night things. And then it feels cyclical because then other people will feel burnt out and then they go and get sick notes and then it just gets worse. I don't know.
Mm,
Um, but I really do get your perspective of like, listen, you got to do what you got to do out here. Like everyone
yeah.
else deal with it, sort of thing. Because like you're just coping, you're trying to cope. It's hard to see it from two perspectives when I'm like in the job, you know. So
Yeah.
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 And I wonder if the world of work is ready to adjust to the increase of mental health issues or like the increase of people actually being willing to own up and say, listen, I'm really struggling today. I can't do it. Because we have to also remember that it's not easy to do that. I think everyone feels some level of, okay, can't speak for everyone, but the majority of people would feel some level of guilt to say, oh, I can't come in today. I'm really, really struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as workplaces have these initiatives about, come and be yourself at work. Bring your whole self. Let us know when you're not feeling okay. There's always someone to talk to. There's always something we can do for you. But
Mm-hmm.
then when the reality of that actually hits, I don't think businesses are prepared for what that really means.
Yeah.
And that might just mean a shift in how businesses operate. I'm not quite sure what the fix is, but I can
Mm-hmm.
definitely see a big issue there from a HR perspective. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's such a good point. What you said there is such a good point because sometimes I just look at people with a side eye when I'm like, how can I help you? I'm just like, what do you mean? What are you trying to say? Trying to say I can't do it? Like, because I'm just sort of, I don't believe you when you say like, I can help you, I can take that load off. I'm like, the next thing you're going to tell me I can't do my job? So like even answering that question of like, hey, can I help? How can I help? I'm not always like, very ready to accept that depending on who it comes from and why. Somebody reached out for help, like to see if I wanted help, and I was like, okay, who told you this? Like, what's good? And it
Yeah.
wasn't until I found out like, okay, this was signed off because obviously there's a lot going on, so we're all sharing the work. Like, oh, okay, cool, that's fine. But if not, I would have been like, no, I can do this, don't worry
Yeah.
about it, even though I can't because there's a lot happening and I'm stressed,
Yeah.
you know so yeah, that taboo is still a taboo topic, I think.
Yeah.
um I'm much more comfortable in like personal spaces to talk about it, and I think that is definitely a blessing because I know maybe a lot of people still can't speak about it in general, and we haven't spoken about like the gender wise, like men versus women, and how comfortable they are speaking about topics like this. But I do think like, yeah, you have to feel safe enough to talk, and I don't feel safe doing that at work all the time.
Mm.
Can I
So,
ask what would make you feel more safe? Like, what are the things that play into that for you?
girl, that's a deep question. And I think, how far do you want to? It feels like a generational thing. I won't lie.
Okay.
Break
So
it
it's not
down.
your work environment, it's more like a internal personal thing where you're
If
like, I struggle to open up.
yeah, if it, good question. Um, I'm wondering how deep to go here. If I'm in a room with black people, I feel more comfortable to talk about certain
Mm.
things. I'm gonna
Yeah.
just say it like that, you know. And I think there is something generational about it, like something to do with like struggle and survival, and you've entered this country and you have to achieve, and don't let anyone put you down, and you know what I mean, like that resilience that you need. And
Yeah.
so if somebody's asking me, do you need help, and the person's white, I might not always understand what they're really saying. They might just be asking if I need help, right? But honestly, sometimes I'm like, what is this gonna lead to? How is this gonna end? What are you trying to say? And how do I represent myself in the workplace as a black person and the only black person in the team, and blah 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 blah, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Um yeah, and just in terms of being direct, like I know I'm a direct person, and like I think um that's probably more accepted in maybe black communities or African communities, I would say. Maybe West African communities, I'm gonna narrow it down even more, than it is in whiter spaces, or British spaces, let's call it, because it is a cultural thing, not so much a race thing.
Do you know what you've just made me think about? You know how you've just mentioned that when people ask you if everything's okay at work, you kind
Yeah,
of hesitate. You're like, why?
yeah,
I wonder if that's to do with the idea that you know how Nigerians are like, "Are you okay?" It's almost an insult. It's like, are you? Is everything all right in
yeah.
your
Are you
mind?
okay? Like,
Exactly.
it's like, what do
So
you
you might be
mean? I'm
taking it
actually
that
okay.
way as well, because you're like, whenever someone asks me that question, they're trying
Yeah,
to say there's
yeah,
something wrong with me.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's that layer as well.
Literally, that's how I hear it.
Mm.
That's how I hear it. My sister rephrases when she tries to see if I need help. Like, she doesn't say, "Do I need help?" anymore. She's like, it's just, what did she say? Like, what can I help with? Something along those lines. Because if
Yeah.
she says, do I need help? I'm like, I don't need help. I certainly don't need anything. Like
Defense is
naturally,
up right
do I
away.
need? No, I could do this myself. But it's like, what can I help with? Like, it's like, oh, okay. I mean, if you want to help with this, then cool. You know, it's strange. It's very strange because like the need feels like it's like you telling me I can't do something.
Mm,
Versus like, what can I do? It's like, oh yeah, I'm just here to lessen your load
yeah.
somewhat. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm glad you brought that though, because like I definitely think I've related to that. Like,
Mm,
and I think even before you shared that, I was thinking around just even the topic of HR and that word human resources, and I was kind of thinking about that just as a term and just this idea that I feel like, we're not we're not machines. I was saying this
Mm,
to a friend of mine who was just talking about how much she'd been working hard and was quite tired, like, and was doing crazy shifts. And I was like, make sure
mm,
you rest. And then I could tell she was kind of retreating afterwards and being like, but it's okay, it's okay. And I'm like, but
literally.
you're also not a machine. Like, and then
Mm-hmm.
I could tell when I said that, she was like, it was like a bit of a dropping shoulders thing. And I think there is something about when you come from like immigrant background, um, even complaining about work taking a toll is
Mm-hmm.
like it's just not on. It's not something you do. Like you're just supposed to kind of take it, and
Yeah.
that's the norm. Like that's how
Yeah.
we are. And at the same time, like yes, it's been an important mode of survival for a lot of our elders who've come here and have settled and have had to literally kind of contain so much, so
Mm-hmm.
much.
Mm-hmm.
But even then they're human, and those survival mechanisms that kept them able to set those roots here so that we can come and also live our lives, like
Mm,
we can't we can't operate on the same ones because they only get them so far, they only get us so far.
yeah.
And I think for me, like I'm still definitely on the journey, but I have noticed that in the current job that I'm in is the most myself I've ever been.
Mm,
And I think that that's looked like being okay with a level of like not trying to be perfect all the time. Um, and I've gotten so used to saying like I don't know something if I really don't know it, which I used to
mm-hmm.
struggle with, which is crazy. But
Mm-hmm.
also just like yeah, just being like a bit silly or
Mm-hmm.
just yeah, just being not feeling like I have to put up this kind of super professional
Yeah.
front all the time
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And I do think that that's been healing, but at the same time I'm thinking about the things that I've had to like let go of in order to get there, and I do think I
Mm,
have had to go through a lot of work in my head to feel safe around spaces that are dominantly white,
mm,
because I don't think it is an inherent thing that I was able to do. And I'm
mm,
saying that to like kind of say like if in affirming like that experience that you've had, like it's it's the reality that I mean, I'm speaking for myself as a black woman, like, yeah, it's crazy that we have to go through all so much work just to feel safe within a workspace.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Even today, like I was I was challenging myself not to say, "Oh, but it's fine," if that makes sense. It's kind of what you were
Mm,
saying, Tembi, you know. It's like you say the things was like, "Oh, but it's okay," you know. Like someone asked me like, "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" And I'm like, "Girl, you know it's not." In my head, I'm like, "You know it's not okay. Like there's a lot happening. There's a lot on my plate. There's a lot to do, and we have to get it done. So the only thing you could do is ask how you can help more than anything."
mm,
You know, but I felt it. Like I felt that like all you have to say is, "But everything's gonna be fine." You know, it's like, "Are you
Mm.
okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Well," I said, "I'm just managing." You know, just managing, and then it's like silence, and I'm like, "Oh, I could just say, but it's gonna be fine," and I'm not gonna do it because I'm gonna be very honest with you. You know.
I respect that because it's taking off the facade that we have
Yeah,
to wear at work every day and
I don't want to lie
pretend
to
that everything
you.
is fine. Like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
everything is not fine right now,
It's not
but
fine, and you know it's
yeah,
not fine. You know what I mean?
exactly.
So, yeah.
and
crazy.
you know it's not fine. I think it's that part as well, because sometimes it takes
Hmm.
one person acknowledging it, because we all see what's happening here.
Who's gonna name the elephant in the room?
Right?
Oh gosh,
It's
who's gonna
also
say
that
it?
part. It's also that part. Like,
Honestly.
yeah, it is interesting to see how like the taboo around it is still very much there.
Mm.
Um,
Hmm.
I I thought kind of just around, I guess, like the reality of things versus like how we perceive or like play them out. I brought up
Mm.
some like myths around mental health and even trauma
Okay.
that I thought I'd share and thought maybe we could like talk about it and see what people think.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So one common myth is you can see if someone has a mental health issue.
No,
Absolutely not. No, I
no, not
think that's a
always.
blanket no. I would say that people can hide what they're going through very, very well. And it's usually the happiest, smiliest, bubbliest people who are
High
struggling the
functioning.
deepest. Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. The most high functioning. So you don't suspect it. And then one day something happens, you're like, oh, wow, I never knew that. I never knew they were
Mm-hmm.
suffering through so much
Mm-hmm.
because it can be hidden so well. So, yeah, completely false.
I
Yeah.
have a question on that actually, and it's I don't know if it's playing devil's advocate, but it's almost like because we know that, or because we know that somebody might be present as super happy, do should we be more worried about those people, or
Mm.
is that worrying? Is that concerning? If that makes sense, like, oh, you can't be this happy, because I don't want I don't want it to be a thing of like
Mm.
you're so happy, and anybody that's this happy is really not like they're really
Mm-hmm.
through it. I
Yeah.
don't know, like maybe because we know that, maybe we should look at these people and actually try and really get into the depth of how they are, rather than just kind of seeing it for the joyful, happy that they are presenting as.
Yeah. I think that is a good question. Um, for me, I feel like I wouldn't question someone's happiness and joy necessarily, but I think it's more like don't exclude those people from the check-ins just because they're happy kind of thing.
That part.
Yeah, I think it's more that
Yeah.
because I think it's when you're
Hmm.
like, oh, but they're all right. They don't even need like
Mm,
don't exclude them from the
yeah,
check-ins. Don't exclude them from the mental health like
yeah,
pick-me-ups that you might share with
yeah,
the people who manifest it differently.
yeah.
And I hope it's okay to share like I on a personal level of like having had someone in my life who literally all I can remember him doing is smiling,
Mm,
who sadly died by suicide a few years ago, and his funeral was packed,
mm,
and everyone said the same thing, like he was just the happiest
mm,
guy, and it was really sad because I feel like everyone knew him to be that person that
mhm,
it was a shock that that he would be even struggling,
mhm,
um
mhm.
and I think yeah, and so I think that that's like a very real reminder to me about
Yeah,
not leaving those people out.
yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Good point.
Yeah. The other one, I guess, kind of related to what I was sharing. 70. This is from I did a mental health first aid training recently. So this was actually a fact that I got from there, and it was that 76% of males die by suicide versus 24% of females in the UK. This is a true uh, figure. But what was interesting is that many of the methods used by women aren't recorded as suicide. And I think that that is interesting to pull out because I think the misconception when we hear that is that, of course, yes, men are dying by suicide at higher rates, but women also slip through the cracks more because the methods they might use would not be recorded as a suicide. For example, like taking pills. And sorry
Hmm.
to bring it to such a like dark place, but I think that that's um worth bringing up just because of like the nuances involved in how we also record these uh
Mm.
this data,
Wow.
and the fact that the method someone uses might mean that they aren't counted as a death by suicide,
Wow.
if that makes sense.
Bizarre. I wonder why that would be the case. Like why that wouldn't be included in that group.
I guess it
Yeah.
could be that the cause is just written like this is what caused it. They just like OD'd or whatever, but not
Hmm.
necessarily like thinking that it's specifically linked to that.
Directly
I don't
linked.
know all
Wow.
the I don't know all
Yeah.
the ins and outs of it, to be honest, but
Yeah.
um that
Wow.
was it was definitely like something that made me think.
Yeah.
Um and another one I had is a common myth. Nothing can be done to protect people from developing mental health conditions.
I would say that's false
Yeah, false.
because I think there are a lot of preventative things that could be done. Obviously, it's not 100% fail safe. Like it could still happen for you, but there's ways to um, change like your brain chemistry or like
Mm.
make sure that you're in a more fit mental state over the course of your life to help prevent certain things. Like I know, for example, with dementia, the more active your brain is, the more solving that you do, the more physically active that you stay as well, the less likely you are to develop that.
Hmm.
So there are ways to help prevent, but I don't know to what degree it would really prevent it. It just
Mm.
slows it down.
Yeah, I don't I do think that there are ways that you can prevent what is the point that you can prevent having a mental health problem, mental health issue?
Like nothing can be done to protect someone from it.
No, no, that's not true. I don't think that's true at all. Like Joy said, it's not a blanket rule for everybody. But I mean, what would be the point of therapy? You know, what would be the
Right.
point of going for walks and exercising and sleeping when you haven't slept, or just drinking some water sometimes? You know, like I think a lot of the times, like your body needs a lot of things that you might not be giving it. You know, and at
Uh,
very base level, it's just like, okay, what's your self-care checklist? Like, have you done this? Have you eaten today? Like, are you eating well? Are you communicating with people? I think COVID really revealed to us how much we need people and
uh,
community. As much as like, an introvert might say like, oh, people hate them so much, whatever. But like, actually, you do need that level of interaction for your own mental well-being. So it could be as simple as like, when was the last time you caught up with your friends? When was the last time you went out and actually had a good time? It could be as simple as that. And
uh,
it can be, on the other scale, like we're saying, it could be a condition or something that takes a long time, and it might be something you always struggle with, of
uh,
course, but there are always methods, and I don't think nothing can be done, not at all.
100%. I
Yeah.
really appreciate both the examples you both given as well, because I think it comes back to that thing of like I feel like we can just give ourselves so much grace because I think,
Mm.
at least for me, if I'm like in a lower place, sometimes I
Yeah.
think like it's because of something I'm doing or not doing to be
Mm.
there. And then I feel
Mm.
like I'm either like weak or not strong enough to like withhold whatever the challenges are. But I think
Mm.
what you're both speaking to is that there are so many other factors to kind of consider
Mm.
instead of that, because it shouldn't be
Mm.
that narrative to be like,
Mm.
have I slept well? Have I eaten well? And even on Joy's point about brain chemicals, I
Mm.
am someone who has at a point decided to take antidepressants.
Mm.
And I did feel a lot of self-judgment about that because I was like, whoa, like, does this mean if I take it that I'm not like strong enough to like handle what
Mm.
I am? But and I had to change a lot of like kind of my own biases around that and my own like stigma, like self stigma around it, to like be willing to, because I feel like sometimes like you can still be doing all the things that you need, but the factors around like you need a different type of support to like manage and get yourself back to the place.
Mm.
And I think it's important to remove the stigma away from that, because it's important at the end of the day that the person just gets whatever things they need in place
Yeah.
to like weather the storm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we forget that even medication is one of those things. So we've mentioned exercise, we've mentioned food, sleep, but medication is also something that can help support your mental health. It doesn't have to be completely, I guess, organic. I think,
Mm.
as you said, Tembi, there is so much stigma around taking medication. And even recently, I was speaking to
Yes.
someone and they were telling me a story, and they kind of disparaged the person they were speaking about because they said, "Oh, well, she actually takes meds to to be okay." And I just thought, even the way that that has been spoken about in this conversation shows me that people don't respect the fact that your brain can really prevent you from being able to do life properly unless you change what's happening within it. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes a run is not enough. Sometimes sleep is not enough. You need extra support, and that is absolutely okay.
Mm.
Mm.
Go ahead, Joy.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, like I remember, and I love the person who said this, and it's someone who was like family to me. But when I was saying about antidepressant, and they said, well, walking in trees amongst the trees is known to be as effective as antidepressants. I'm like, I promise you, I'd be out in the trees every day. I promise
I've
you.
walked all the paths you can think of, and I'm still suffering. So what now?
Oh,
Now what? Literally.
yeah.
Now what?
Yeah.
And I think, I think it comes from a good place, but I think I don't know, I think people are scared in some ways.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's like a fear around it. But maybe that's a whole other topic.
I mean, no, I mean there is a fear around it. I mean, like if we're talking from a black community perspective,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
there's so much fear around it. I mean, there's stuff that even we don't like. For me, I don't even necessarily understand. Like, let me not talk so bad. Oh, all the generations. Like, even me myself. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that we don't necessarily understand. But and I think that's because it's been such a taboo topic. It's like it's either you're well or you're mad. Do you know what I mean? And like
Right.
as we speak about it, it's just like that mad person or that crazy person. Do you know what I mean? So even if
Mm-hmm.
you inch close to being like I might need some extra support through these meds, it's like hold up, are you mad? Do you know what I mean? So so there's no in between. There's no in between right now. You know, and I think because
That
of
jump
that,
is
there's no in
wild.
between. It's you're well or you're not. You know what I mean? And so what? How do we talk about the gray areas and be like, I don't understand, but I'm willing to learn, rather than like, why are you doing that? You know, you shouldn't be doing that because we're scared that our brothers and aunties will find out. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yes. And speaking of the black and white, that links very well to the last myth I was going to share, which is you only need to take care of your mental health if you have a mental health condition. So if you're diagnosed with depression or anxiety, etc., that is the only reason to need to take care of your mental health.
That's like saying you only need to exercise if you've been diagnosed with obesity. Like it doesn't make sense. Sorry, my cat is really wanting to join the party.
Aww.
Um,
Uh,
it's for everybody. Everybody has a brain. Everybody has ways of processing and ways of staying, I guess, sane or well or
mm,
having some form of balance in their life. You don't have to be at the extreme to take care of your mental health. So yeah, definitely false as well.
mm. I was gonna say something and it's lost. It's left me. But yeah, when I think of it, I'll come back to you.
Okay, maybe it will come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, because what was
I
that last point? You only have mental health if you have a mental
You
health.
only need to take care of your mental health if you have a mental health condition.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I was gonna say like I guess the people that think that way are the reasons why we're in therapy. You know?
Hmm. Talk
Like
about it.
that is the actual reason because it's
Mhm.
people like this, and it's no judgment, by the way, it's just factual, like people like this that don't want to address that there is something going on mentally for everybody,
Yeah.
um that kind of lead us, the ones that actually want to do something about it, to go to therapy and talk about it and try and dissect it. And You know what I mean? It's just that kind of quote of like hurt people, and that is
Hmm.
with how you say things, but also how what you believe about things, what you think about things as well. You
No.
know, so yeah, that's definitely what I would say on that. But you
Yeah.
can't blame the old generation too much. You know, at this point, it's like they couldn't afford to think about their health mentally. I don't know, for a very long time. We're only getting to that stage now, if that makes sense, where it's like, oh, we're somewhat settled, somewhat, because someone said to me, we're like one job loss away from homelessness. And it's like, wow, that's
No,
actually
but it's
That's
crazy.
real.
real. That's so real.
That's so mad.
Yeah.
Because really, all you need is to be made redundant and not have enough savings and not have family nearby.
Yeah.
Homeless,
Honestly.
mate. You
Yeah.
know. But that's a side topic. It's like we're somewhat stable now, you know, that we can start thinking about what's going on mentally, because before that wasn't even a consideration.
Oh, for real.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It was about survival.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But it still is, weirdly. We're still surviving. I feel like, bruv, who is
No,
stable
rebuke
right
that. I'm
now?
sorry.
You
I'm
know what?
sorry. No. I said I
I,
rebuke it
I would say that
for all of us.
we're beyond survival in the form of like I don't know where my next meal is coming from.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
like
yes, yes.
we've got to a state where
No, but
Sorry, I don't know why I'm
it's
true.
laughing.
true, right?
It's
Like we've got to a state
true.
where we're pretty
I'm
comfortable
sorry, I don't know why
and
that made me laugh. It's not
we're
funny.
pretty comfortable and we're just striving for better,
Yes.
striving to have like a more um I guess
Sorry.
Kevin needs
The
a
ideal.
reason why
timeout.
I'm sorry,
Kevin needs a
the reason
timeout.
why I'm laughing is because I only think that when I just like think about how I can't be bothered to cook. Like I actually don't know how food will manifest in front of me. I don't know.
That's
Sometimes
a
it's
real
like that.
survival mode right there.
But obviously that's a different
Mm,
thing. Sorry.
okay. Sorry, Joy.
No, but I think it's a privilege for us to be able to chase self actualizations, for us to be
Yeah.
able
Mm,
to dream and to do podcasts and to write songs and stories.
mm-hmm,
These are things that our parents never got to do because they literally had to go to work to survive. And
mm-hmm,
I know we do as well, but
mm.
I would say it's
Not the
to a
same.
different extent. It's not the same at all.
Mm, mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, I hear that.
It's a privilege for us to pursue self-actualization. That's
Yeah.
Come on, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I love that.
no, that's a word.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting with it. Like I
Let's.
I had the question of like coping versus healing
Hmm.
because in relation to, like especially intergenerational trauma where we have seen like some of the older generation having to for very real reasons cope, and the question of healing feels almost beyond because some of the ways that they've coped is kind of set in stone, if you guys know what I mean. And it doesn't mean that it's not needed. It
Mm,
doesn't mean that it can't help them to live even now a better life and more, calm life maybe. But yeah, I guess like, do you see the tools of coping and healing? Do you see a difference between those, like for you guys? Um,
mm.
is it the same or is it different, and why?
Are the tools for coping the same as the tools for healing?
Hmm.
Tools or treatment for coping, yeah, like coping versus healing.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, if we just talk about what is coping and what is healing, I think
Yeah.
coping is trying to get by in a situation that's really difficult and using any means necessary to get there. So people develop really terrible coping mechanisms. It can be like alcoholism, it can be binge eating, it can be anger problems. Like, there's so many things that people do because they're trying to cope with their life and with the situation that they're in.
Mm-hmm,
Whereas I feel like healing is getting to the root of the problem
mm-hmm,
and
Mm,
trying to do better for yourself, for
mm-hmm,
your future, and maybe for the generations that come after you. It's
mm.
less about this is how I survived this process and
Yeah.
more about this is how I chose to survive before. What's the
Mm.
healthy way of doing it so that the future is better for me and for my family?
Yeah.
That's
mm.
how I would see it.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, thank you for that. That's good.
I'm I'm now thinking, is coping a bad thing? Because I feel like there are coping mechanisms that can be bad, and at the same time maybe there are certain contexts where it's like I am only able to cope right now. I mean, we've spoken about it a little bit. It was like I'm only able to cope right now, and so these are the things that I'm like. Sometimes we need coping before the healing, I guess,
Mm.
depending on the
Oh yeah.
situation. You know, sometimes we can be like, hey, I want to heal, but sometimes it's like the situation right now where things are blah blah blah, like it's only coping that we're doing until we
Yeah.
get to this stage of being able to heal. Do you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
feel in many respects right now I'm coping. It kind of goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. You know, I'm but it's weird, I'm coping and healing at the same time, because healing feels
Mm.
like therapy, right? So I'm going to therapy, but I also still feel like I'm coping in many respects.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it can be both. It can be one before the other, and it can just be healing, maybe,
Mm.
you know?
I definitely think they can overlap because
Yeah.
I almost think about coping like you know, if you like burst the wheel of like a car tire, and then you
Yeah.
can have that one that can like get you going to a certain point until you can get it fixed, or like you can put like a
Yes.
thing. I
Beautiful
feel like
analogy.
I feel like that's the difference between coping. It's like, yeah, you can just plug the hole to get you to a safe spot and like
Mm-hmm.
be able to like then get the new wheel that will allow you
Mm-hmm.
to keep driving the car as normal in a safe way. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like to me that's like the difference, because I feel like, yeah, when people, whatever means people need to cope, I think it can be easy to judge. But
Mm-hmm.
if that's the thing that's taking them through a certain period
Yeah.
until they can then face things. And I'll even give an example personally of like having experienced a lot of grief. I remember feeling very numb at the time. And obviously, being numb is not a way to live. Like, I have to feel my feelings, but our bodies also work to protect us when we can't fully process it. I couldn't fully process it at the time until I got to a place where there was some distance from all of that to then look back and be like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, like, even recently, like, there's a a poem I started writing in 2021 about losing my uncle and aunt. And yesterday
Mm-hmm.
I was editing it, right? And there was a bit, it wasn't working for ages. I've been working on it for 4 years, I promise you, on
Wow.
draft
Mm-hmm.
37. And it was
Wow.
only yesterday that I was able to change one line in it to actually say the words, uh my uncle's not here anymore. Like I couldn't even write that, and it seemed so clear, and I was like, no one knows
Mm-hmm.
what's happening in this poem because I've not said it. And I was just thinking about, I don't think I was ready to even write that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually don't think I was ready to spell it out that clearly
Mm-hmm.
for other people to even know what this poem is about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just highlighted it to me, like, also how like our bodies or our minds just like will protect us sometimes until we can, you know?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That part.
Wow. And the fact that in during your healing process you've had to name it to actually really feel a shift in how you're feeling in that situation. I think that's something to note as well, because a lot of the time we struggle to be able to actually express what's happening, what are we feeling, and I think that does prevent a lot of healing for a lot of people because we just
Mm.
can't access it.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
No, that point you made actually, yeah, is so you're so right, because I think it's so weird. Mental health is weird, man. Because it's like you can speak so much about it, and then you might think that you're like you're elevated. You're like, yes, I'm at this stage and I'm doing all this, and then all it takes is for one memory like to be unlocked, if that makes sense. And it's like,
mm,
whoa, I really haven't actually dealt with this. I
mm,
thought I was okay, but I'm actually not okay. You know, like I thought all I need to do is pray about this. And you know, I'm a Christian, I'm all about prayer, but like I'm very much like Jesus and therapy. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
Because they serve different, well, they serve very specific purposes. You know, if you're praying, you're not necessarily going to understand what happened as a child and all sorts of things and like how that links to how you are. You're not going to be immediately challenged about something that you say straight away, for instance. You know, you can get the encouragement, you can cope, you can heal, but you might not understand like why you do a certain thing and what that means for other people and what that means for you. Like, why do I have this habit? You know, and I think that kind of speaks to how self-aware we need to be, and just always questioning our behaviors and not assuming that it's just the way things, like just the way I do things. Like a lot of the time we're like people, we're just a combination of our experiences, you know. Something can be as small as like, okay, I don't ride a bike right now. um I just thought it's because I didn't have no interest in riding a bike, but actually it's because there was one time I was traumatized when I was riding a bike. I thought I was gonna die when I was young. Do you know what I mean? Connections didn't come together until I went to therapy. I was like, oh, I have no interest because that time I thought I was gonna pass out on the road. You know,
Oh gosh.
but like it's weird, isn't it? It's so weird because it's not even something I considered at all, until that link was made. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's important to be aware of your behaviors and your patterns because it reveals a lot about yourself or things that you haven't dealt with yet. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's easier to operate, going back to our word of the day, it's easier to operate on that level of not knowing. I think it takes a lot of bravery, a lot of courage to actually be able to face what has made you who you are today. Why am I like this? And really dig deep and try to change that. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people choose to go down the easier route of avoidance than courage. So yeah,
Mm,
Yeah.
kudos to you for doing that.
trauma's hard.
100.
Trauma is hard. Tell me what you said about like what Joy said about naming it, but like yeah, what you literally described to us is like, yeah, my uncle's not here anymore.
Mm,
Sometimes it's just in our heads, but until we actually get it out or say it or write it, you know,
Yeah.
it's not real. You know,
Yeah.
you can't move on or move
Yeah.
through, I should say,
mm.
until you say it, man. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. I had a question for you, sorry, Tembi.
Mm.
Because we were talking about you were talking about antidepressants and like you kind of starting it and learning to embrace it. Like how has that journey been for you? Like care to share a bit more for those that are like wondering for themselves or whatever. I mean, not the spokesperson for antidepressants, but I'm just very curious about how it's been for you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, just from a very personal perspective,
Yeah.
I'm not on them anymore. I weaned off them earlier in the year, and I think the biggest lesson for it was just I was on them for a year.
Mm,
Is it's not a, and I think this kind of ties to generally how healing is not linear. Healing is not a straight line. It wasn't like I've got antidepressants, now everything's great.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, and I'm on antidepressants now. The things that were making everything feel more intensely difficult don't feel as intensely difficult anymore, so I can cope better.
Mm,
And then once I was able to kind of navigate that and then start to feel like I can come off, then even coming off, as you both will know because I shared it with you, was not a straightforward thing. Weaning off antidepressant is not something for the weak.
mm,
It takes a minimum of 6 weeks. It took me about 9.
gosh.
And you were dealing with many side effects, and I say that because, and maybe this is me kind of speaking to my own self judgment around people who take antidepressants are weak. No, it takes strength. It takes strength to accept help in general. It
Mm,
takes strength to choose to go down the route of antidepressants, especially when you
mm,
know
mm,
all that it comes with. But at
yeah.
the same time, in that knowing, you know what will help you, and you are giving yourself that grace and that chance to be able to get the support you need. So yeah, I
Mm,
would say that I, having done it now, I'm like, I wouldn't think, wouldn't think twice about it if I felt the need to have it again. But
mm,
it would still be taking into consideration all the after effects of it too,
yeah.
because it's not easy to come off it. So I think
Mm,
for that reason, it is a lot to consider if you're actually going to do it because it's a commitment.
mm,
But it absolutely did help me when I needed it, you know?
mm.
Um,
Nice.
does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, it does. Thank you.
That's all
That's good.
right. Um, I don't want to like, this has been such a good conversation, and I don't want it to be like, I don't think it is toxic positivity, at all, but I think just kind of holding the other side of it. We've talked about intergenerational trauma. And
Mm.
something actually interestingly, a poet said to me in a workshop. I was in a workshop, and it's kind of like a mentor had said, like, you are owed your struggles. And I think what she was saying with that was that whatever struggles, whatever challenges you've been through, and even your ancestors that you carry now with you, you are owed that. And it isn't because it's saying you deserve it or that, you know, anyone should have that put on them. But that also is the thing that you can draw on. In my own words, the way I interpret it is like it's part of what creates your secret sauce in a way.
Mm.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because I look at some of the ways I've watched my grandmother, my mum problem solve, just in general
mm,
about life, and
mm,
the ways that they were able to do that. And I've been able to learn and observe and come up with my own. No one
mm,
else can do that.
mm.
And I feel like we don't praise enough of that side of things too. And I wondered if you guys
Mm-hmm.
like recognize that at all in like in your own like lives, or just what you think about that in terms of also the blessings that come intergenerationally, even
Yes, yes.
despite struggle.
Yeah, definitely. Joy, this is one of the reasons actually why we wanted to talk to you as well, because like that's something that you shared on Instagram. I'm gonna butcher the quote, so I'm gonna need you to say it.
All
But
right.
yeah, it was something to do with just like we're talking about intergenerational. Have I said that right? Intergenerational traumas,
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, versus like intergenerational blessings and how we don't really consider that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely a lot easier to focus on the things that are negative. I think as humans, we just have a negativity bias in general.
Yeah, true.
But there is also you don't just inherit negativity from your lineage. There are things that your
Mm,
parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles have survived, have grown through, have learned, have taught you that are actually making your life better.
mm,
So you
Mm,
might have learned how to be more resilient, or like Tabby said, problem solve,
mm,
or be an encouraging person,
mm.
or know how to show love. You know how many people in the world don't know how to show love
Genuinely.
in a way that people can receive.
Yeah.
So there are so many things that we have actually received from our lineage, from our generations, from the generations before us, that
Yeah.
should be praised rather than simply focusing on, oh, I inherited, I don't know, anxiety from this
Mm,
line of my family. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
There's other things that
mm,
we can focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
mm,
I definitely praise my parents, my family, like generations before me, just for like the joy that we
Mm-hmm.
have,
mm,
despite everything, but just in general, man. Like it doesn't always have to have a backdrop of pain and struggle. Do you get me?
mm,
It's
mm,
just
mm.
kind of like, yeah, they're just happy people, full stop. Do you get me? So, um I mean, I still feel personally offended if I'm walking on the street and nobody looks at me. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, like all it took was like we're literally walking in the same. I don't like it. Do you know what I mean? It's like I have not even acknowledged you as a human. Do you get me? Like
Yeah.
you don't even
Mm.
have to say hello. Just like look at me, smile,
Yeah. Just
anything.
do that like really random smile people do. Like,
Just like a little smirk if you want to. It just feels like basic levels of humaning. I know it's not a
yeah.
word, but it's like, wow, can we acknowledge that we're all in this together? Like
Mm.
everyone's struggling and everyone's having joy and we're all experiencing those same emotions. And again, bringing COVID, that was probably the point where the world all came together in a way that is never done before or hasn't done in a very, very long time. And it
Mm.
was shared grief, but also what is the joy that we can come from it, because we were all going through the same thing. And now it just kind of feels like we're going back to normal of just like, like I don't acknowledge you, you don't acknowledge me, we're just gonna keep it pushing. But that's not really how, that's not how we were raised. Like my family, and it's just like African families, we weren't raised to not consider the other person or not look at the other person. And I think it's a real blessing to be able to just be like, I like your shirt to a complete stranger, or you look great today. These things make a difference. So that's definitely one thing that I take with me, even in the cold heart of London. you know? Yeah.
No, it's important. It's
Yeah.
important. And I love that point as well, like just generally, like, yeah, it isn't just a one-sided story. Yes, trauma has been there. And
Mm,
yes, there's hardship, but even in the midst of that, like, one thing I love, and I especially about my people, I talk about it when I say like the diaspora, Black people,
mm,
Zakosa even,
mm,
is like the defiance of joy, even
mhm,
despite that, like, and
mhm,
people don't want to talk about that enough. Like, I think
mhm,
about, like, there's like a bit in a poem by the South African poet called Kollega Putuma, and she's like talking about apartheid, and she's like, they want to just hear about like these kids who have gangrene in their teeth and whatever, but there's like, no, there was joy. Like, there was
mhm,
also joy, believe it or not,
mhm,
even in the midst of these things. And
mhm.
that's also our lineage, you know?
Powerful.
There was dancing, there was laughter, there
There
was
was
That's crazy.
energy,
music.
community. Yeah.
Muse, honestly, honestly.
Love
Yeah.
that. Oh.
Um, yeah. So I think it's important to hold space for that too.
Mm.
Um, and I guess to round us off, I wanted to ask you guys, what's one thing that you think we can do to normalize looking after our mental health more, just in general?
Hmm.
The first thing that came to mind was just like talk about it. Just talk about it
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And guys, just talk about it to your male friends, man. Like there's just oh
Uh,
gosh, honestly.
Do you know, I've been getting my brother to do a feelings wheel and like look at it and tell me, how do you feel today?
Yeah. Explain a
I
feelings
love
well for those that
that.
don't
Okay,
know.
I actually have one right here.
I
Can
love
I
it.
just show
No,
it?
you don't have it right next to you.
Here's one I made earlier.
Stop this.
Wow, that's detailed.
It's very detailed. It has about like three different levels to it.
Okay.
So
Yep.
like at your most basic level, you've got like the core feelings of like happy, sad, disgusted, angry, fearful, bad, and surprised. And then there's loads of different adjectives that go around to get
Whoa.
a more of an intricate explanation of how you're really, really feeling. So I
Genuinely.
think for me personally, I didn't grow up with this vocabulary of being able to really express how I'm
Mm.
feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have watched me over the years trying to like figure myself out, trying to understand my brain.
Mm.
And one thing that I've noticed is that I'm very quick to numb my feelings.
Mm.
So this has actually helped me to just sit with myself and be like, okay, in this moment, how do I feel? And just
Mm.
pick like three words from there.
Mm.
And I think that's helping me become a lot more expressive and a lot
Mm.
more in tune with my actual body because I have to sit there and think about it and, feel it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably going to be my top tip for anyone who wants to improve their mental health. Just actually engage with it more
Yeah.
and, yeah,
And
see
it
what it
just
does for you.
literally just to jump on that, and I totally agree. I think, if when I ask men, it's not to put men down at all, by the way. I keep saying men, men, men. But when I ask men, like, how are you feeling? And you answer with like a task, you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, I'm just
Mm.
gonna do this, or yeah, I'm just working on this. I'm like, bruv, that's not my question, you know?
Feeling.
Like, I
Thank
will keep asking
you. I am the
you
same.
how you're feeling until you
Yeah.
answer that question. What is the feeling that you feel? So maybe I need that will for them,
Oh, yeah, I'll
you
send it to
know.
you.
It's not easy. It's not easy because it's just
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, I don't have the words for that. But like, there's also no fix to it. I think, stereotypically men like to fix things. So it's like, okay, what's the point of explaining how I feel? Okay, I feel this way, I feel sad. And then, it's like, no, there's no and then. It's just I'm sad. And now we're gonna think about why. And then you're gonna sit
Yeah.
with it. And we're gonna leave you with that. Do you know what I
Just
mean?
pause for a
You're
moment.
gonna pause and you're
Yeah.
gonna process it. And actually, you'll be surprised that next week you might be able to deal with that better because you thought about why. You know.
Because you've named it. Going back to before, you've named
You
it.
gotta name it first.
Right.
I like it. It's facts.
Yeah, we have to find a way. Either we'll drop a link to the feelings wheel or something, share it with your male friends, everyone who
Please
hears
do.
this.
And ask them for 3 of them, 3 adjectives, just every day. How have you been feeling today?
Like it.
Let us know.
We love that. I think mine, I would say one thing to normalize it, I think is just continuing to be okay with not being okay sometimes.
Yeah.
If I'm tired, I'm going to say I'm tired. And if it's not okay, like, please, like, someone has to name it because we all see it, like I said. So, yeah, I think, and it's not always easy because sometimes it's uncomfortable. But I think naming it is important, and not just like assuming this mask that we all like to keep and maintain, because who's really benefiting from it? So yeah. Any other thoughts before we go from any of you?
Joy's thinking, so I'm gonna let her.
Yeah.
No, I'm just wondering.
She's about to
do I-
drop a bomb. She's about to drop
All
Oh
of us.
man, that's
a
pressure
sermon.
now. What if I was just thinking about the next meal I'm gonna have?
She's about to take us to church.
It's gonna be a deep meal. I'll tell you that much.
I think just okay, so let's go back to the work scenario, for example. I think being able to say to yourself that if I had a broken leg, would I force myself to go into the office today? Probably not. So if I'm really, really struggling to even get myself together, can I possibly in any realm take a day off? And if the answer is yes, do it. Because I think that alone helps with destigmatizing. It helps with opening up that conversation. I mean, of course, there are caveats to this. So if your organization isn't as open about mental health, then that might work against you. But if they are and they claim to be, use that. Like say, okay, today I'm having a really bad day and I can't face work.
Yeah.
Take it. Yeah.
You could still lie too. Like I was in.
Well, yeah.
Just
You can work
realised
the system
that's
if
a
you
bit-
really need to.
Like
Yeah.
you could still do that for yourself. Be like, it's a mental health day for yourself. You don't have to tell them. You just be like, oh yeah, something bad happened or whatever. Like
Yeah.
I'm not well today. I don't feel well. Just
Yeah.
use the language they're used to, but do
Absolutely.
what you need to do. For instance,
Yeah.
if it is like that at work, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you guys. This has
No worries.
been very good. Yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed and took something from it. If you have any thoughts, always please do share them with us. We always appreciate hearing from you. And yeah, that's been us for this episode, and see you next time.
Yeah.
See you. Bye.
Thanks again for listening to Somewhat Grown. What should we cover next? Email us at somewhatgrown@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts. You can also connect with us. On YouTube, search somewhat_grown. On TikTok, find us at somewhat.grown. On Instagram, follow at _somewhatgrown. To follow us personally, find me, Tembi, at Tembi Rain on Instagram and X, and Izzy is at It's Izzy Eze everywhere. Catch you next time.